church can get you killed. It's a place where people gather, and by them knowing that you're gathering at a certain time, they can come in there and hurt people like they did in the situation in Dylan Roof. It can get you killed because Jesus got killed by the church. He got crucified by the scribes and the Pharisees of that time and that era. And he went against what they were saying because they were living a false life of godliness. And because they had religious positions, they thought themselves to be better than others. And they kept people in bondage. Nobody was delivered. The blind walked out the church blind. The crippled walked out the church crippled. No one got delivered. No demons were cast out. Nobody was raised from the dead. You can fellowship at home. You can elevate at home. You can be around 2 or 3 people and praise God amongst one another, whether it be outside somewhere in the yard, in the park, or you could be at home praising God together. You do not have to go into a church to receive the Spirit of the Lord. It is a place to fellowship and come together with other believers and faith followers, but it also can be a way for these Masonic pastors and these satanic pastors that they have put up there in that position to see who's deep, who got the spiritual gifts, who's operating in those spiritual gifts, who's up there being for real and not pretending. So church can get you killed. Anytime you walk into a church and they got a picture of Jesus as white, you need to get out, like the movie said, get out. Anytime you walk into a church and you see no healing and no deliverance, and they pass around that bucket or that plate for money, you've paid for the sermon. It has become a business. One of the reasons why Jesus turned them tables over in the church is because they were making money off the Lord. They were selling and buying as if it was a store. And that's how it is. I feel like when you go to church, it's not free. You're paying for that because tithes is supposed to be the harvest of what you got from the field, the corn, the bread, the wheat, what you got from the field, what you got from the garden. Is not supposed to be money. That's something they changed and allowed as the years went on. So be not deceived. But understand, anywhere you gather, it's easier for people to hurt you. I had a dream one time, and it seemed so real. And everybody was gathered at this concert, and they had their phones out. They were taking pictures, lighting candles, lighting they light. You know how they flick their lighter at a show and stuff, out of respect for the music and the performance. And then all these guys in these Nazi uniforms ran out with guns and they started shooting everybody in the crowd. I'm not trying to put fear in anyone not to go anywhere, because when it's your time, it's your time. It don't matter where you are. But gatherings or a set place to gather is the easy way for them to hurt people. It's the easy way for them to set you up. It's the easy way for them to weed out who's real and who's not. That's how they took down all these black movements, is because they knew when they were gathering. They knew when they were having meetings. They knew who was real, who was the warriors, who was the ones that was the true soldiers, who was the ones really standing for God. They knew who the real was. So when you go in these churches, you got to understand some of these churches ain't real. Some of them people up there was put up there by the devil or by the system. And a lot of them are Masonic. That's why they do not acknowledge the Sabbath day on Saturday. They deliberately defy that commandment and worship him on the wrong day, on Sunday. And all these days, like Sunday, the first day of the month, is all in reverence to Lucifer, because he was over the sun. He was over the sunshine. He was positioned over the sunshine and over the music. So it's no wonder that the music industry reverence him, and you have to go through them to get the deal. because they've offered me deals several times and I said no. And the last time they sent me a message, they put Church of Satan on there. And so they're not even trying to hide it. And they kept making me offers, and they kept upping the price on the offer. And it reminded me of when Jesus was up on that high mountain, and Satan had took him up on that high mountain and offered him the whole world. And he still said no, that you should not tempt the Lord thy God. And he was like, well, cast, turn these stones into bread, lest you cast your foot upon a stone. The angels will catch you if you cast your foot upon a stone. He still rebuked the enemy and stood firm. Now, I know it might have been a sweet offer, because when they give you an offer, it's always going to be a sweet offer. But you got to realize which road you're going to take. Are you going to take the broad road or the narrow road? Are you going to be received by the world or rejected by the world? God was not received by this world, and he created, he's the architect of it. He got the blueprint on it, and they didn't receive him. So anybody coming in his name, anybody doing the will of the Lord, anybody receiving the Spirit of the Lord will be denied by the world, because you first denied the world within your heart and within yourself. And so what happened in the spiritual showed up in the physical. If they didn't accept and receive the Lord, they would not receive you. When you got the Spirit and truth in you, you will be denied, because that what it is that power that you have within you to defeat Satan's kingdom and to tear down them strongholds of bondage that he's fighting you over. And that's why you got to be very careful who you interact with when you have the Spirit of the Lord and you doing the will of the God and you going against Satan's kingdom. You can't go in every church. You can't be around everybody. You can't even you can't be a witness to everyone. Yes, you can witness, but you can't get close to everyone, because some of these people will not receive that truth, because they've been trained and taught about these Masonic churches that's not telling them what's really going on. It's not warning them.